meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life, because the Mets are really socking the ball, knocking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody's coming down to meet the METS Mets of New York town. Oh, the butcher and the baker and the people on the streets, where do they go? To meet the Mets! Oh, they're hollering and cheering and they're jumping in their seats. Where do they go? To meet the Mets! All the fans are true to the orange and blue, so hurry up and come on down, 'cause we got ourselves a ball club, the Mets of New York town. Give 'em a yell! Give 'em a hand! And let 'em know you're rooting in the stand. Meet the Mets, meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life, because the Mets are really socking the ball, knocking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody's coming down to meet the METS Mets of New York town, of New York town.
And what is up, everybody? Happy Thursday night to all my Mets fans here. How's it going, guys? Happy to have you all here as always. Thank you all so much for chiming in. We're in for a fun one tonight. I don't know exactly how long we're going to go, but we're definitely probably going to be going at least a couple hours. So, again, I really appreciate you all being here as always. It does mean a lot, guys. Thank you so much. And seriously, so, as always, Julio, Ryan, AB, Michael, I don't even know how to pronounce the name right in regards to Keith Hernandez's cat, but hello, how's it going? Gaming Clips, what's up, buddy? Michael, everybody, thank you so much for being here. Everything Sports, Jersey Girl, Rob, everybody, Brendan, Silent but Deadly, everybody, thank you all so much. Ryder, Maniac Mac, Kyle, what's up, buddy? Jay, Chris, everyone. What's up, guys? Thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate you tremendously. Nick, Ray, everybody. It really does mean a lot, guys. I know. We have a lot to talk about. I wanted to really touch on what has transpired today in regards to the Mets not getting Trevor Rosenthal, and also giving you an update on the free agents that the Mets still have been connected with, and going from there, doing more of a Q&A once again. And I will also have in probably right around, I want to see 45 minutes from now or so, I will have Jim from Ballcap Sports here in tonight's stream as well. So I hope you guys are very much looking forward to that. But if you're new and you're a diehard Mets fan and baseball fan like me, make sure to smash that like and subscribe button. As always, guys, it always does mean a lot. Help us get to 100 likes for the first short-term goal, and also help us get a 6K subs. It really does mean a lot. But what's up, Rory? What's up, Ryan Talks NY? Appreciate you being here. Same thing with the other Ryan. What is up, Sully? Again, everybody. Jay, thank you all so much for chiming in. Dominic, my man, you're too kind, buddy. Mets not doing anything as usual. Oh, Timothy, stop it. Stop it. Okay, what are the updates, Wardy, on rumors and updates? Okay, all right, guys, so let's start off. Should we start with Trevor Rosenthal, guys? Let me know in the chat if that's the first topic of discussion you would like to get down. Please feel free. I'd love to hear it. Adam, I appreciate you. Yeah, thanks so much. What's up, Lone Wolf? How's it going? Gotta get rid of Alderson. No, get out of here. Get out of here. You're nuts. You're nuts. Yo, Wardy, what's up, Lefty? I appreciate you being here. Elliot, what's up, my man? Hey, man, I am a fellow Mets fan, and this has been out of right field. But I was interested in both of us having the collab together. I also do MLB news stories. Baseball Fanatic. Yeah, no, thank you so much for reaching out. I appreciate that. Maybe that's something we can do down the line. I would suggest at this juncture to just hit me up on Twitter if you want to talk further on that at WardyNYM if you have, in fact, a Twitter. So that would be, I would say, the best bet for now because it's not like you can really direct message through YouTube. I feel like every team in the Mets rival just me. Okay, let's see here. Start with today's rumors. Okay. Let's see here. Start off with Trevor. Rosenthal is overrated. Rosenthal is in Mets, so who cares? Well, I agree to an extent, but you probably want to know the reasoning behind that. Not FM. Oh my, you guys are being very tense to start the stream. Please, if you have hostility, that's fine. Just don't take it out on me, please. That's all I ask. I don't have time for that. Yeah, you're 100% right. If you do not, in fact, we got Lindor, which was huge. If we don't extend, it's a waste. You're completely right, Timothy. And I feel that with the utmost certainty that the Mets are going to extend Lindor. And I did a video on it earlier today. So if you guys are interested in that, you haven't checked out, make sure you do. And Matthew Allen looks like a stud. I'm very excited about him. You don't have a Twitter? Okay, then I would say, if you don't have a Twitter, then my next suggestion would be go to my previous video and just leave a comment. And then I'll find your comment probably either tonight or tomorrow morning, and then I'll reply to you. We lost another Trevor. So, man, Mets locking up Lindor. You read it on Bleacher Report? I don't follow Bleacher Report too much just because they're normally behind the curve on this reporting. I think the Mets are, in fact, going to lock up Lindor. Yes, I do believe that they will hopefully do that before the season starts. No freaking way that DeGrom is a top 3 player. Oh, stop it, AB. Come on. You can try to be a little unbiased at least. You're a fool if you think DeGrom isn't a top 3 player, given what he's done for the past 3 to 4 years. Come on. You should know better than that. What's up, superstars? Happy to have you here, my friend. I appreciate you as always chiming in. Alvarez is a stud too. Yes, he is. I'm fine with Rosenthal not signing. I'm so curious what the bullpen move will be. Okay, so I guess we can just kind of segue into that. And thank you so much, Baseball Fanatic, as always, for the kind words. I appreciate you. And yeah, no. So in regards to what is next, I'm not being biased. Yes, you are. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Come on. You can make the argument that maybe he is in top 3, but that's a tough argument to be had right now, I would say. Really. Okay, but here's the thing, guys, that you should probably know in regards to what are the Mets doing bullpen-wise. That is a big question mark, right? Well, the one thing I will say is that what we have seen over the past month or so, going back to January 18th, if my memory serves me correct, the New York Mets initially showed interest in Jeremy Jeffress, however you pronounce his name. I might be saying the name wrong. Or most previously with the Chicago Cubs, had a really strong 2020 season, as we know. Has been a little up and down, I would say, in regards to his career, but isn't all that out of the realm of what most relievers are nowadays, especially on the market. Has some strong numbers, and the Mets did show interest in him over a month ago. And Marcus Stroman and himself even had dialogue going back and forth on Twitter saying, basically come to Queens. And he was in acknowledgement of it, and I will expand on that further in probably a video for tomorrow, so stay tuned for that, guys. But Jeffress would be another very strong arm for the Mets in the pen. I absolutely believe they deserve to get more guys in the pen. Truly, I think that it would kind of be bizarre if they don't. Honestly, when you look at the Mets options, there's uncertainty here. We don't know if they are going to get to the point that they're going to have Lucchesi in the bullpen. I don't know at this point in time. I don't know exactly what their route is, what their game plan is in regards to the bullpen. Should there be an end-all situation where they don't land anyone? Do I have a feeling they're going to land another arm? Yes, I do. But when you look at them losing out on Brad Hand, as we know, and they did that strictly because Hand wanted to be in a closing role. And what were the Mets not able to do? They weren't able to solidify that, hey, we're able to have you in the closing role. And the same thing was relevant in regards to now, most recently, Trevor Rosenthal going to the A's. He previously played with the team as the A's. I don't know if he's ever really been an A's fan or whatever, what have you. But I will say that he was guaranteed the closing role option in Oakland after losing out on Hendricks, who then went to the White Sox this offseason, who's a dominant Australian closer, I should say. And the Mets weren't able to give that closing role again in regards to Rosenthal, nor were they really heavily pursuing him from the reports I'm seeing to the same length that the A's were. So if that's the case, it's another player that the Mets showed interest in this offseason, but set a line and really said that, yes, we would love to have you here, but one, you have to kind of go for this kind of price, and two, you are not guaranteed a closing role. And I understand the closing role to an extent, but it just does add in the frustration of just how ridiculous a closing role is in itself. It really is frustrating in my opinion. It's not something that should be as, solidified. I think a closing role should kind of vary almost on, a week-to-week, a game-to-game basis to an extent, given how the guys are performing. And if the guys are trending upwards and downwards constantly, and there isn't that solidifiedness of, okay, this guy is for sure our closer throughout the whole season, then I don't think that you should really go the lengths of not being able to land a Brian Hand and not being able to land a Trevor Rosenthal because you can't guarantee them at least somewhat of a closer role. You know what I mean? And same thing with the free agents. It's frustrating on their part too that they're demanding that they for sure be the closer. But that tends to be the case with some of these guys, the bigger name relievers that we've seen, and it is what it is at the end of the day. So Jeremy Jeffress, however you want to say his name, is a guy to keep an eye on, in my opinion. I think he would be very strong for the Mets from everything that I've seen on him. Again, I plan on doing a breakdown on his game. Should he not sign with a team with the Mets or what have you, prior to that video coming out sometime tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. But before I get on to further players, guys, again, thank you all so much for chiming in. It really does mean a lot. We have 230 lovely Mets fans in here, so if you haven't already, make sure to smash that like and subscribe on. Help us get to 100 likes. I'll start answering some of your questions, and then after that, I will go further basically in what is next for the Mets here. Everything leading up to having Jim from Ballcap Sports here for a half hour or so once 9 o'clock hits. So thank you all so much again for being here. It means a lot. Yes, Mick Williams is definitely a guy to keep an eye on. AB, I respectfully disagree with you, but you're fine to have your opinion, my guy. Seriously. But to say that Tatis is already better than DeGrom, to say that Soto and Acuna are better than DeGrom when DeGrom is the best pitcher in baseball, I think that's still far-fetched. Again, you can make that argument should you wish, but to say that's clear-cut one way or the other, I think that's kind of silly. Lindor 350 for 10 years? I would definitely check out my video from earlier today in response to that. Last down, Rosenthal, more things change the more they stay the same. It goes back and forth, Ricky. Again, I just did the full explanation as to why the Mets didn't land Rosenthal. To be honest, they should have gave the exact same offer or maybe more with more years. He's an elite arm in the closing role. Edwin Diaz hasn't been 2018 Diaz since he came over. While you're not completely wrong, Diaz did have a very strong short 2020 campaign. So I will say that there was a lot of promise there from what we have seen in his latest season with the Mets. Even though it was shorter, that isn't his fault at the end of the day. All we can do is just credit them for how well they did in that short period of time. And he was solid. So Diaz has some of the nastiest stuff in all of baseball. He's a top 10 reliever still in the game, and most people would agree. I'm really not all that concerned with Diaz. He's like Familia. He's a heart attack in the ninth until he proves me otherwise on more than a handful of save opportunities that he had in the 2020 season. Do you think the Mets are going to land Walker? And I would love Walker, first of all, and I think the Mets have as strong of a chance as any to land Walker. I'm not going to jinx anything. I'm not going to bet the farm in regards to Walker because normally that does not favor me from what we've seen transpire this offseason, but I really, really hope the Mets land Walker. Yes, he's my favorite pick. Then after him is Odorizzi. And these are two guys that the Mets have shown interest in. Padres don't even have money. Timothy, that's the silliest thing I've ever heard. Just because the Padres are quote-unquote a smaller market team doesn't mean they don't have money. It all comes down to ownership at the end of the day and how much they're willing to spend. They have money. They made that clear, and they're making that clear. Oh, Kyle, thank you so much for the donation, my guy. I appreciate you guys. Hype in the chat for Kyle as always. Kyle says here, Mookie better than Trout. Call me crazy, bro. I am calling you crazy, Kyle, but I appreciate the donation. Yeah, I mean, no, I think that is pretty wild. Not gonna lie. I mean, Mike Trout, guys. Let's just take a couple seconds to talk about Mike Trout, and then we'll get on to what is next for the Mets now that they're out on Rosenthal, and now that Walker looks like he's still the top dog for the Mets for free agency, and then looking at Odorizzi a little bit further, looking at their third base options still. We'll get into all that, trust me. But Kyle, Mike Trout is probably the most, in my mind, the most underrated, one of the most underrated athletes in all of sports. You know, yes, he's the face of the MLB to an extent, but Fernando Tatis is doing a quick job of really making himself known, especially because of the type of character personality he has, which is fine. I don't have an issue with that. I think Tatis is unbelievably entertaining. I just hope for his sake that he keeps it up going forward. But what separates Trout from the rest is so many things. But when you look at this guy's numbers, both offensively and defensively, he's just so unbelievably consistent. He hits for power, he hits for contact, he gets walk, he gets on base. Oh, Mike Trout's on base percentage, his OPS is through the roof every single year. And I know Mookie Betts is not too far off in some of these categories, but Mike Trout is just to a consistent level where almost any day of the week, if you're asking me who would I prefer between Mike Trout and Mookie, it's not even a question. I'm still taking Mike Trout. And that just shows you how amazing of a player Mike Trout is, at least in my opinion. And I think most people here would agree. And again, Mookie Betts is an amazing player. Here we have top 3 in the league, and I think that's perfectly right for him. But you could basically flip a coin, if you will, with Trout and Betts. But in my mind, I think it's bigger than that. I think there's a decent enough gap to say that Mike Trout is still the best player in the game. Just I don't even know what else to say about Mike Trout. You know, if he wasn't on the Angels, I can only imagine where he would be in stardom beyond what he already is. Yes, I know he's the highest paid player in baseball. Yes, I know he's on an over $500 million contract. But the fact that he's been with the team that has had literally little to zero playoff success throughout his entire career, as through all of Trout's prime years, as he's still in the peak, but it's going to be starting to dwindle down over the next couple of years, to an extent, I'm sure, it's a little worrisome. You know, I really hope for the Angels' sake that they can try to compete and try to be good, because there's no player in the league that deserves it more than Mike Trout. Can it please stop snowing? Oh, I completely agree. It's snowing where I am too. It's frustrating. What's up, Rory? What's up, Carl? I appreciate you being here, my guy. Oh, you're too kind. Thank you so much for the kind words, buddy. And Hunter, no, you're the GOAT, buddy. Thank you so much. Again, I appreciate all you guys, as always. I'm just catching up on the chat now. Guillaume better. Ash, what? That's funny. Are the Mets serious on Chapman? Your guess is as good as mine, Jesus. I haven't seen anything beyond what the initial reports we saw from Chapman were. You know, my honest belief at this point now is that if the Mets do acquire a third baseman, do that quote-unquote blockbuster, if you will, we're not going to know a damn thing about it until it actually happens. They've been stealthy with a lot of their moves, even their latest ones are depth moves. So, like, I don't know. I really don't know. I think that it would be something more under the radar. Jay, thank you so much for the kind words, my guy. I appreciate you. Are you going to do a post-game analysis when the season starts? And Jay, I doubt I'll do that for every game just because that's too many for me to keep up with the kind of various content I want to do. But that's something that I might do for specific games, especially if it's like a Sunday night game or even games after that I watch, because I'm going to be streaming during games as well. And I'm going to be going to games. So a lot of stuff is going to be happening in regards to in-season content, so stay tuned. I've been wrong on 95% of my predictions. Theodore, I think there's a difference between my predictions and me just relaying what we have seen been reported this offseason. You know what I mean? If you were ever under the impression that I thought the Mets were going to land every single player that the Mets showed interest in this offseason, I have a bridge to sell you. That's the first time we're saying that in this stream, and I'm sure it's not the last. If you guys have been following along, then you know damn well that the Mets had no chance on landing everyone. But one of the reasons that I talk about here, and one of the topics I do here on the channel, is I basically give a thorough breakdown on each and every single player that the Mets reportedly show interest in, or players that could very well be connected with the Mets at some point, hypothetically speaking, because it would make sense for them for one way or another. So no, I haven't had too many predictions this year, and my boldest ones, my strongest ones, were both Springer and Bauer, and I was going right in hand with the reports. So, that's the Mets doing for them not landing him. It's not mine. So I don't know what else to tell you. Who are possible options after Jeffress? They kind of fall down. That's my only worry. I honestly have to do a deep dive of the free agents after that point because I haven't, it gets fairly thin at that point. After that, I was like Ollie Perez to an extent, but he just signed with the Indians again. Walker signs with the Dodgers? No. The last thing they need is starting pitching at this point. And dinner was good, Nick. Thank you for asking. I appreciate you. Took me like 20 minutes to find dinner, however, because a lot of the places were closed due to the bad weather and roads. So I had to just pick up a sandwich at the gas station. Who do I predict at third base? As of right now, it's going to be JD. But again, I will be surprised by that. If JD's starting third base for the season, it doesn't go in hand with what the Mets have preached this offseason. So I find that fairly contradicting. I will say that. Juan, thank you so much for the donation, my guy. I really appreciate it. Guys, hype in the chat for my guy Juan. As always, another loyal subscriber here, and of course, a loyal moderator too. Thank you, buddy. Saying he needs to stop hesitating and make some moves. While I agree, I do. I don't think he's being completely hesitant, however, as to what a lot of people think he is. Again, Zach Scott is the GM. I know that everyone believes that Sandys holds all the cards, but in reality, he doesn't. Yes, he gives his input on a Zach Scott, but Zach is still the GM at the end of the day. He's the one making these moves. So take that as you will. I think the Mets are being strategic, but I also think that because they've shown interest in so many different names out there, it has been misleading to an extent for us as Mets fans because we've never experienced an offseason like this where we have seen the Mets show interest in literally like 30 plus players, right? At least. That's what it feels like. And because of that reason, because it all getting reported out there, and that isn't even including a lot of the players that the Mets actually traded or signed for that weren't originally on their radar through the reports. That is what's been the bigger issue, I would say. It's not as much because of them not being able to land certain guys. I think it's because of the fact that it's all been out there in the media, and when in reality, there's only been a few of these players where the Mets heavily pursued and just at the end of the day weren't able to land them. And Bauer was the most noticeable one. Bauer was by far the biggest name the Mets went fully after and didn't land when they gave it every single thing they had. They had the better contract on the table when you're looking at AAV through the third year. And, they did all they could. At the end of the day, he chose LA. And I'm not trying to beat a dead horse there. I'm just trying to give the explanation that, we're more upset because of the fact that the Mets have reportedly been out there with all these guys. And they've only landed a small percentage of the guys that they actually reportedly have shown interest in. So I understand that frustration, and as a Mets fan, all I can hope is that they still try to round out this roster, because if they go into this season with how the roster currently is, which again, I don't see happening, but if that is in fact the case, I will be worrisome. I will at that point. I think they're going to have a great season regardless, but there, push comes to shove at some point where it's like, okay, you kind of need to make moves in this aspect because you're banking on too much. It's great to be analytically driven, but again, you can't be so analytically driven where you're almost to an extent where you're acting like you're balling on a budget. When, yes, this is a big market team. They're acting like it, but I want them to act a little bit more like it. It would be nice to see them be a little bit more aggressive here. But if they land one of Walker or Odorizzi, that changes the complete game. In my mind, that really puts the cap on the offseason for me. And at that point, I feel far more comfortable than what I did beforehand. Rotation security will be huge because that'll ultimately help the bullpen too, especially if you're toying with guys like Lucchesi in the pen as well. And look, let's put it this way. If they still land a starter, they still land a reliever. And even if they don't land a third baseman, if they at least do a reliever and a starter, I will feel far more comfortable and far more ecstatic than what I originally already am. I'm already pumped for the season. Trust me when I say that. I'm ecstatic to see Lindor, Carrasco, and everyone else that's new. So if you add anyone else significant, that is a huge plus. And I do believe the Mets are still going to do that. But again, it's just a wait and see situation, and we're all in this together. And Joe, thank you so much for the donation to my man. Oh, let's see. Machias, you donated. I'll check it out, buddy. Don't worry. I apologize. I missed it. I'll get to you in 1 second. Joe, thank you so much for the dono, my man. I appreciate you as always. Well, I almost forgot how to play, so I'm with my Mets family. What's up, all? Sandy values guys and wisely won't stretch if they're not worth it. It's year one. I agree for the most part, Joe. I do. And Machias, I'm gonna go. Machias, I'm gonna see where you donated, buddy. Because I think I did see another donation, but it wasn't until after the fact. All right, thank you so much again. Message deleted. Michael, why did you delete the message? Michael, come on, bro. Machias, what did you say in regards to your donation? Because again, thank you so much. I appreciate you. But yeah, Michael, why did you delete it? Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to catch up here. Machias, if you're still here, please tell me what you said. I'd appreciate it. It was okay for Machias to spam because he did donate. I was trying to see what he said. You know, Machias, if you're still here, I will gladly answer what you had to say. I apologize I didn't get to it originally. Yeah, guys, if someone ever donos, it's okay if they're spam. They're just trying to get my attention. Yeah, do not delete their comments or anything like that. Yeah, that's not okay, guys. But again, I appreciate you all being here. I understand if it was a misunderstanding, but again, that's not cool, okay? Just trying to see here. Your grandma just passed away? I'm so sorry to hear that, Matthew. I'm unbelievably sorry to hear that. My condolences to you and your family, my friend. Yeah, no, I'm so sorry to hear that, buddy. Seriously, that sucks. That's crazy, though. She lived to, what, 99, you said? That's insane. Good. God bless her, though. She lived a long, healthy life. I don't have a lot of faith in Sandy. He can't close. I agree with not overpaying, but we need something other than mediocre players for depth. Timothy, I agree, but I will just tell you this. In regards to depth, the Mets haven't just landed mediocre players. When you're talking about their bench, the Mets have one of, if not the Mets literally have one of the best benches in all of the MLB currently because of the type of depth, the type of quality depth they have made this offseason. But when it comes to pitching and bullpen, I can understand that argument if you want to make sure you have quality over quantity. And I hope that's something the Mets continue to do. Absolutely. No problem, Chris. I appreciate you being here. I'm just reading more of your comments, guys. Just let's see here. I don't mind JD at third. I think he showed flashes and has a great arm. I like guys with personality, good for team morale. I really like JD. I cannot stress that enough, guys. All right. The only reason why the whole JD movement came into play is because of how active the Mets were and trying to this point at least, upgrade out third base. And mainly because of his defensive woes. And when you go into his numbers, I understand perfectly why the Mets are doing that, okay? Now, if it happens where the Mets end up keeping JD at third, it is what it is. All I hope for his sake is that his defense gets better and that he thrives, and him being alongside Lindor is definitely going to help. It's going to be light years better than what he originally was with Rosario, defensively speaking, at least next to him. So, again, I do believe the Mets are going to upgrade third base, whether that's before the season or during the season. Only time will tell. But again, I still very much like JD. I wouldn't mind him even after a situation where you deal for, say, a third baseman, if you can have him on the bench, but I don't think that would happen. Yoshi, what's up, buddy? When do you think the Mets will extend Lindor? I would say in the coming weeks. I have a feeling it would happen right before the season. If you go back to his comments, you should be able to untime him. I think it's gonna end soon because I tried, but it wasn't letting me. Any updates, Rory? Sorry if I tuned in too late. No, the updates is that Rosenthal went to the A's, as we know. The Mets have shown further interest in Jeffress, and also that the Mets are still very much active in regards to Taiwan Walker and Jake Odorizzi as a pivot. Like, really isn't a surprise. I don't think Odorizzi is going to land with the Mets. It's always felt like Walker has been the stronger fit between the two. But again, that's just my personal belief right now. It doesn't mean that that's exactly what's going to happen. Do I believe what Tim Hoyer said about Bryant? For the most part, no. No. It made sense what he said. Let's put it that way. I expect nothing less from a guy that's trying to make sure that he didn't put any more salt in the wound than what's currently already there with, one of his star players in Bryant. Do you think we address third base or stick with JD? I think I just kind of said that. I hope the best. I hope the best like every year, brother. We need a big season. Oh, I completely agree, Timothy. We're on the same page. We are. Did you know any news on Chris Bryant and the Mets? Nothing further. Jed Hoyer basically tried to say it died down. Makai, so you say, love the channel. All right, thank you so much, buddy. Again, I apologize for the misunderstanding. My moderators hopped on, as they should. They're normally on the high radar for when someone spams, so I can't blame them for what they did. It was just a misunderstanding. But again, I really appreciate the donation, my friend, and I'm very happy to have you here, so thank you kindly. And again, thank you all so much for being here. It really does mean a lot, guys. Tyler, what percent do you think we land Walker? At least 50%. It's him or the Jays right now. There isn't any reason to believe another team until we find out about another team, like significantly. Mets have a good bullpen. We need some depth in the bullpen. We have a little bit of the rotation side of Lucchesi, Lugo, maybe Pearson, Stroman, Syndergaard, DeGrom. I mean, Lugo is out for the first couple months. Remember that as of now, given his surgery he's getting, and he's bullpen, not starter. Lugo can be a starter, but he's not supposed to be a starter. And again, guys, if you are new, please make sure to smash that like and subscribe button as always. Help us get to 200 likes, guys. Really mean a lot. We're trying to really blow up the stream tonight and also help us get to 6K subs. If you are, in fact, new and you're a diehard Mets fan like all of us, it really does mean a lot. Mets got to get Jeffress and Walker getting ridiculous now. I agree. It is getting decently frustrating. Do I understand it? I do, but do I understand why us Mets fans can be frustrated when they basically, to an extent are connected to all these guys and then they only land, a small percentage of them? Yes, I understand both sides of the coin here. I can't blame people at this juncture for being at least a little upset or just a little frustrated, I should say, more than anything. Did Jared Porter firing cripple all moves going forward? No, I don't think that's the case, Ricky. I don't. No. I honestly think that the Mets not landing Bauer is actually having more of a ripple effect than anything else. Because Bauer was the only player that the Mets went all in on this offseason that they weren't able to execute on. They went in on Lindor and got the deal done. But in regards to free agents, there was no one that they gave a heavier push for than Bauer. It doesn't even look like that was remotely close with anyone else, even Springer. Because they wouldn't go 6 years for Springer. They wouldn't even go past 4 because they didn't want to worry about long-term issues there, which I understand. But Bauer, because it was short-term, they went all in and they just couldn't land him. So I think that is really what has kind of mess things up a little bit, if that makes sense. Even though I know that maybe that's not the right term to say. Andre, what's up, buddy? I'm doing great. Happy to have you here. Is Walker coming to the Mets? I really hope so, Nick. The Mets are still very much in on him. Is that a chalky milk I'm drinking? No, stop it. The Chapman three-way trade rumors was strictly a rumor that was not from a reliable source. I was connected with it on Twitter when it first happened like 3 days ago, but it was nothing significant at that point in time. Do you think Conforto will be extended before the season? Corey, I would love it, but something tells me it might not happen. I think Lindor is far more likely than the both of them, but I do believe both of them will be extended no less. The time frame is a different story right now, though. Wardy, I have hope for Chapman, but the A's recent additions, Moreland and Rosenthal, believe they win. Well, here's the thing, though. The A's compete every single year. I don't think in regards to Rosenthal and Moreland that changes literally anything. They needed a closer after losing Hendricks to the White Sox. They got Rosenthal. They needed a DH after trading away Chris Davis, and now they got Moreland. They just filled the holes that were put in their lineup from free agency as it is. So again, while I think Chapman is far-fetched, I don't think that their current moves have any say in what their aspirations are for the season. And I know it has been bad timing in regards to the bad PR. It makes you wonder if the type of scandals and stuff didn't come out this offseason, would things be different? Maybe to an extent. I think that's a fair argument. That's one of those things that we will never know about. I honestly, I don't have the answer to that, but it wouldn't be all that surprising when you connect the dots. It's funny. The day before Springer goes to the Jays is when Jeff Passan also comes out with the first story about Jared Porter. Take that as you will. Can Mets get JBJ? Doesn't look likely right now. The only way JBJ made sense for the most part was if a DH is in place. And as of now, there's still no DH. So if there is no DH for the season, doesn't seem like it's happening. But he's still out there, though. He's still out there because I think he's still, talking and thinking about that same exact thing. Zach Scott's fine. I honestly love Zach Scott. I think he's doing really smart moves for the Mets. If you think he's dreaming, I think you're being foolish, honestly. I think Zach Scott's in great hands. What about Castillo? Castillo's another pipe dream situation. Castillo's one of those things where if it comes to fruition for the Mets, I don't think we're going to hear anything about it outside of really hypotheticals until the deal is made. The Mets have I believe the Mets have the proper assets to get Castillo, but he would cost a ton. He's a guy that will definitely cost you a haul. When is Ballcap coming on? He should actually be coming on within the next 10-15 minutes, so stay tuned for that. I'm very much looking forward to it. Thinks Sandy has a green light to make moves but doesn't know what to do. Granted, remember, Sandy isn't the only one that controls making the moves. He has a say, yes, but he's not the only one. Zach Scott still holds a lot of the cards too, remember. I'm patiently waiting for that blockbuster trade to happen again. You and I both. We're going to be as patient as we possibly can. And, that's all we can do. I think that's the best way to go about it. If we just end up getting really mad and upset, it's not worth it on us as Mets fans as it is. We put enough stress on ourselves as it, on a year-by-year basis. Let's just try to ride with things and hope that things come to fruition. Maniac Matt, I'm pretty sure you said that to me before, and I thought that was really funny. So yeah, no, that's very funny. Yeah. The Reds may ask the Mets for Peterson, Allen, and Nimmo for Castillo, along with some international pool money or cash considerations. Yeah, I mean, Allen is where it's like, okay, we have a little bit of an issue there, even for Castillo. You don't want to. It's one thing to get rid of Peterson as it is in a deal, but get rid of both those. Then I think in a deal you're probably looking at, a Mauricio would make a lot more sense versus an Allen, because Mauricio would fill that short stop for them in a couple years, which is what they need. Gio Gonzalez, I don't see happening. We're like 1-10 and showed interest this offseason. I mean, you're not wrong, Jalen. You're not. But again, do realize that 14 of the Mets 40-man right now is all newly acquired players. So let's not act like the Mets haven't made moves this offseason. They just haven't made nearly as many quote-unquote blockbusters or big-name ones that we would have hoped for, given what the interest had shown. So I think they both statements are true. Do you think Syndergaard is going to have a good season? Yes, I do. I think he honestly looks great as it is from what we're seeing for the bullpen. Yeah, I think that's awesome. I'm really excited to see him back and gradually get back in the rhythm in this rotation. Do I think Kershaw the Mets? No. I hate to say it, but I think the last move the Mets are going to make this offseason is Walker. Even if that is the case, Dominic, I'm very happy with them getting Walker versus not getting Walker. Al, thank you so much for the donation, my guy. I appreciate you. My loyal member here in Al, you're amazing, buddy. Thank you kindly for the dono. I really do appreciate it. Let's see. JD, Mauricio, Nimmo, Lee, Pastor for Castillo, Suarez, and cash considerations. I don't think that's enough for Castillo and Suarez. So how do we upgrade the bullpen? Well, Jeffress is a guy that they're currently looking at. Outside of that, it's in-house to an extent. It really is. Again, if the Mets try to I think the Mets are really banking on a lot of these different guys that they have coming for the bullpen. Mick Williams is a guy that really stands out. That looks like an analytic stream for them that they're really banking on. So keep an eye on Mick Williams. I think the Mets are really going to trust analytics to an extent that at first is going to rub us the wrong way, because we're like, all right, who even are these guys? But throughout the season, it's going to be very Rays and very A's-like, where it's like, wow, okay, I don't know where this guy just came from, but he's pitching to a sub-3 ERA right now. Like, this is tremendous. I think the Mets are very much in a situation like that again. So just don't be surprised if those kind of things come to fruition, because, again, it makes a lot of sense for the Mets. I read up a lot about McWilliams in particular, and Lucchesi. If you have him in the bullpen, he has some nasty stuff, really. And I think him in a more limited role, either as a stretch man or really just in that bullpen for multiple innings, I think would be great. So the Mets have their options in the bullpen, but I agree they would like to make more moves there. They've been trying to get rid of one of, if not both of, Familia and Betances. Can that still happen before the season? It may happen before the season, but things are just really quiet right now. With not too much going in the Mets' favor. They got Pilar, yes, but that isn't the pitching aspect. We're hoping for more pitching now. And yes, guys, if you haven't already, you're just chiming in, make sure to smash that like and subscribe. As always, if you're enjoying tonight's stream and you enjoy this kind of consistent Mets content, if you do, please make sure to hit those buttons. Help us get to 200 likes and also help us get to 6K subs if you're in fact new. It really does mean a lot, guys. It goes a long way. That is the best way for me to know that you guys are enjoying your time here and that this is all worthwhile in the end. So thank you all so much for everything, all the support in advance. But yeah, no, thank you. Let's see here. I'm just reading more of your comments, so bear with me. Ball cap is the Justin Verlander lookalike. Yep, you hit the nail on the head. No problem, Aiden. Were you a chalky milk? All the pain from the missed free agents. I don't even like chocolate milk. That's a funny thing. This whole thing is silly. But yeah, no problem, buddy. Have a great night. Yes, Colin Wan did sign with the Brewers. You're correct. How much do you think Lindor getting after Tatis Jr. signed yesterday? I would say check out my latest video if you haven't. I talked plenty on the possible extension for Lindor and if Tatis factors in anything or not. How do I feel about Cano in the situation there? I think Cano is never going to play a game for the New York Mets again. I think that's, water under the bridge at this point. What are the odds Stroman coming back next season or a Syndergaard extension? I'd say they're still fair. I'd say they're still strong right now. Performance is what will dictate most of that. I have a feeling Betances Familia will have big seasons, so I don't think they'll trade them. Yeah, Mason, I don't think I'm banking on that nearly as much as you are. Something tells me that the Mets will start the season without one of them too. So time will tell again, but Betances and Familia, I'm not sold on them both being with the team to start the year, or at least them both being with the team and having strong seasons. Just curious, what did you get from the store for dinner? Oh, I got a spicy Italian. A spicy Italian, what do you call it? Like a, not a panini. Like a spicy Italian melt. I think that's the best way to call it. Tatis's father is most known for hitting, what was it? Two grand slams in the same inning, right? I feel like baseball social media is just really slow going right now. Yeah, no, it is. It absolutely is. We were all at such a high, and now it's like as spring training has started. You want Thor to retire as a Met? I hope so. That means that he's been doing something good for a long, consistent time. I'd be all for that. I'd like the Mets to get Taiwan Walker. Richard says I'm all with you. But I don't think he's coming here. From the picture he posted, oh, trust me, buddy, he's in Arizona every offseason, Richard. He's been there since he was first traded to Arizona a couple years ago. He's been there. He loves the Arizona area from everything that I read. I've even seen interviews of him. He really likes it there. That's normally where he spends his offseason. That has nothing to do with his destination. Unless he signs with the Diamondbacks, but I don't see that happening right now. Any chance Mets sign Walker and Franco to fill third base? Ooh, Franco's an interesting pick. Oh, Franco would be funny just because of the Phillies. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. I don't see Franco being picked up by the Mets. I really don't. But he's an interesting pick because, after Turner and free agency, it really felt like it fell off in regards to options. But I'm going to just look up Franco quick just for the sake of looking him up to look at his numbers. Again, I don't think Franco would come to... I don't think Franco's an option, but it is an interesting name at least to talk about. Asdrubal Cabrera didn't go to the Angels. He went to the Diamondbacks. Let's see here. Two grand slams inning against the same pitcher. Yes, and it was against the Dodgers, no less. And I believe that's when, wasn't that when he was with the Cardinals? Brian Dozier did retire, yep. What's up, Michael? How's it going, buddy? Appreciate you stopping by. I'm writing a piece for the Apple on players getting a hard time on showing personalities. Like Stroh's comments or bat flips. What's your thoughts on players being more cocky and showing personality? I love it. I think it brings more entertainment and, it's just intensity of the game, especially when you have intense rivals going up against each other. I love personalities. Give me personalities every day of the week. Even if they're cocky, even if I hate the player, I enjoy it because that brings more of a spark out of the opposing team too. And the game is so much fun when you actually see the play with emotions. Don't get me wrong, it's nice to see a guy calm, cool, and composed just doing his thing, but there is always an entertainment factor to an extent, and I love that when guys show their personalities, regardless if I even like the player or not. I think it's a good part of the game that needs to be expressed more. No problem. What's the question, Mark? No problem, Eli. Thank you so much for being here. And yes, I did see that JT did break his thumb, Real Muto. He's going to be out for at least a month. Maybe we're still on Odorizzi. Just wish they would sign someone right. I agree, Julian. Trust me, you're preaching to the choir. I hope that they sign someone too as well. And I do think it's going to happen. We're just waiting. No, I'm pretty. You can still trade Cano, but it isn't going to happen. No one's going to take on that contract. I don't love Juan Soto. I love to hate him. Let's put it that way because he's a national. What do you think about DeGrom being ranked as third best player in baseball? I actually plan on touching on all the players' rankings in a future video, so stay tuned for that. But just a little snippet, I love it. I think that's perfect for him. I absolutely love it. I think I think it's deserving considering DeGrom's been snubbed during his Cy Young years. So it's about time he actually gets, top 3 here and respectively. Will JD be the third baseman to start 2021? As of now, he will. And until the Mets make a move, he will be the third baseman. That's it is what it is. I'll find it surprising. I'll find it a little contradicting on the Mets end, but again, they have their reasons at the end of the day. If they don't trade for a big name third baseman this offseason, it's because the price wasn't right to the point where they really felt that's going to hurt too much of their long-term future. So, and you also have to look at it from the other side of the coin too. How much did that team want to say part ways with that certain player? Can I get an hour? You got it. Let's see here. What happens first? Mets sign a pitcher or a Rangers win? Ooh, Chris. Coming at me hard. Honestly, I don't know. Isn't the Rangers game still tied up? I'm pretty sure. I don't know, Chris. I have a feeling the Rangers win might come first. But I'm also saying that, would hope that happens. Thank you so much for giving us your love. As always, I appreciate you. And again, thank you all so much who have chimed in. It really does mean a lot. Joe, stop it, Joe. It's not my fault your Islanders aren't playing good tonight. It's about time. You're ahead of us in the division currently. I'm just looking at Franco's numbers here. Very, very up and down. Very up and down. Yikes, that on base is not looking too hot. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that one. Can we still trade for a third baseman? Absolutely. Whether it happens before the season or not, though, only time will tell. Woody, what's up? What's up, Brendan? Happy to have you here. Who needs more defensive improvements, Davis or Nimmo? Davis. Nimmo is a perfectly fine corner outfielder, and he's working his tail off to help out the center field, should he be the starting center fielder for the season. I'm happy with their roster now, but many fans still want more. I mean, me too, to an extent. You know, I think that's fair for us Mets fans wanting some more here because of how the roster is currently constructed. Will they have success? Yes, but is there as much certainty with winning the division as there would be if they make another couple moves? No. It's always good to make more moves when you can, right? Especially when you still have a hole in the rotation currently to an extent, when you have holes in your bullpen. Defensively at third base is still not sharp, let alone the outfield. Even though I know you have plenty of depth there with the depth moves, it's still not great. Do I want Diaz to be traded? No. I'm well aware of what the Islanders did last year. Yep. Yeah, no, I'm very much involved with hockey as I am baseball. I have a hockey channel too. Yeah, McNeil, best pure hitter in baseball. Soto, best all-around hitter. I think McNeil's arguably the best pure hitter. He's definitely up there. He's definitely like top 3. But yeah, no, Soto's just insane. So he literally went straight from AA to the bigs. And all I hope is that he asks for such a big payday soon once his contract's up that the Nationals can't afford him. So fingers crossed on that one. What happens first? Mets extend Lindor or Conforto? I think Lindor will have him first. Oh wait, what happens first? Mets extend Lindor and or Conforto or Rockies sub 500 record this year? That's funny. So you're saying if the Rockies just lose the first game, I think the Mets will extend one of those guys before the season starts, at least. Is Laffy a bust? No. The team structure is, all over the place right now. He's not a worry. Yep, and Brendan Smith just scored for the Rangers, so there you go. I'm a Steelers fan for baseball. I mean, not baseball, football, believe it or not, but I do follow the Giants and the Jets respectively. I don't have an issue with either New York football team. You hope Almora is awesome and they trade Nimmo. Interesting. Why do you want them to trade Nimmo exactly? Walker and Jeffress, Green, and called an offseason. I will say Green is interesting. Wasn't he with the Braves most recently? And yeah, no, I love Nimmo's effort too. I really do. And signings during spring training aren't as often, but it's not impossible. Like, you have to understand, these free agents are going to get signed before the season starts. There's still quality free agents out there. So it's not about, how often is it. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of, are the Mets going to be that team or not? And they're showing heavy interest in Walker. So I really hope it happens. Kyle, I know you're a Browns fan. Don't get me started. Is YouTube your full-time job? Yes, Jack. I've committed to it full-time, and I plan on doing amazing things this year through YouTube. And it's all because of you guys. So seriously, thank you all so much, guys. And if you're new, please smash that like and subscribe button as always. Again, please help us get to 200 likes. It really does mean a lot, guys. You love playing Madden while watching the streams? I love to hear it. Oh, Sam, thank you for the kind words, my man. I appreciate you. Roblox, what's up, buddy? We're talking about just basically the Mets, what their options currently are through free agency, how likely they are, and beyond. And we're also waiting word on Jim Ballcap to basically get him in here too. I'm actually going to check my messages right now. Do I agree with the top 10 players? For the most part, I honestly don't think those rankings were as bad as what I expected them to be. You're a Jets fan, unfortunately. I have nothing against the Jets. I wish them success. Let's put it that way. You know, the Jets are just an unfortunate situation. Hopefully, they're on the up and up, though. I really like their head coach now. You feel like Lindor and Nimmo are going to be besties as long as they stay together, that, you know, Nimmo doesn't go anywhere. I agree. It's literally Mr. Smile 1 and 2 right there, and you love to see it. You absolutely love to see it. Kyle, just like these Walker sweepstakes, we're going to probably have to do the same for JJ, right? That should be fun. We should set a wager. JBJ is looking for way too much, and he's going to end up getting paid dog crap. I mean, I don't think he's going to get paid dog crap, but if he is really setting the bar high, which is why that maybe isn't getting many offers, it could hurt him as we inch closer and closer to the season. Do I think... I don't think Byron Buxton is going to the Mets, but I would love him on the Mets. Let's put it that way. Do you wish that the Mets would have kept Jimenez? It would have been nice, but it definitely made sense in that deal. No regrets whatsoever. When you get Lindor and Cookie Carrasco, your primary ways with Jimenez is basically that biggest piece. You do it any and every day of the week. You know, I wish all the best to Jimenez. I think he's a stud in the making, but Lindor's a franchise player. You know, and there's no doubt. And you still get a middle of the rotation starter and Carrasco. Sign me up. Kyle, thank you so much for the dono. Hey, don't apologize. I'll take the dono all the time. That's a perfect way for us to, you know, agree to disagree on our favorite teams, right? You know, seriously, thank you, Kyle, though. You know I always appreciate you, buddy. What's going on, Robert? How's it going, buddy? What's going on with these free agent pitchers? Don't they need as much time with the pitching coach and team to be successful? You're not wrong to an extent, Robert, but again, you have to take into account that, you know, this is a negotiation process. These players, as they want to get back on the field as quick as possible, but the last thing that they are going to do as players is rush a deal for, you know, basically whoever comes calling first. You know, they're still desirable guys that have numerous offers on the table with both Odorizzi and Walker, respectively, when you're talking about starting pitching. So in their case, yes, they want to get a spring training as soon as they can, but they're going to make sure that they prioritize themselves, their contract negotiations, and their future first, and then get on with, you know, actually getting ready to start the season. They're keeping good shape. They're still doing their bullpens, you know, in private sites and stuff. They're still doing all their hard work. Who's on my Mount Rushmore of all-time Mets? Mike, enlighten me. How many faces presidents are there usually in Mount Rushmore? Because I honestly don't know the number off the top of my head. When do you think the Mets will sign Walker? Well, I don't want to jinx it. I hope that we have a decision on Walker before by Saturday. Because Saturday, I'm going to be booked all day, so I really hope if they don't do something on Saturday. I hope it happens before or after the fact. And yeah, Dominic, I'm not betting the farm that something's going to happen tonight. If something does happen, I think it's going to come out of the blue, because that's what the Mets have been doing. They don't give a damn about our feelings, and when the reports come out, that whenever the reports are coming out there, they're showing interest in a guy, it like almost doesn't happen that same night. The only time Kevin Pillar had just happened, but it was like out of nowhere, John Heyman said during our live stream that yes, things are picking up between the Mets and Pillar, that they're heavily pursuing him, and then bam, the deal happened. Why Miles on the same D line will be ridiculous. I know. You know, it'll be even more ridiculous having Watt and his brother TJ right alongside him. That'd be so much better. And Michael, it's okay. What were you spamming, Michael? Oh, that you ate a banana? Was that what you were saying? What do you want the Steelers to do with Ben? I want the Steelers to ride out Ben until he's done. You know, I'm at the point regards to the Steelers where, like, you know, if they win, they win. If they don't, they don't. You know, I'm not as committed to them as I once was, where, like, I would get heartbroken every year for the past decade. So, like, I can handle it if they fall short. But I hope they succeed. But they're in a crossroads right now. TJ Rivera was such an underrated Met. I swear to God. If he didn't get that serious injury, he really would have been fun. And Jim will be on here in 10 minutes, guys, so stay tuned. Jim from Ballcap Sports is only 10 minutes away. He just texted me. Yeah, so guys, we will have Jim from Ballcap Sports here in just around 10 minutes. Yes, I saw the Rangers are up 2-1. Yep. Oh, and have a great night. Namaste. I apologize if I said your name wrong. Thank you so much for being here, though. Mets and Walker more likely than Odorizzi? Yeah, I would definitely say that. Am I going to any spring training games? No. Next year, I definitely intend to for the first time in my life, so that will be a lot of fun. Okay, there's 4. Okay, so my Mount Rushmore of New York Mets. That's a good question. I'm trying to think who I would pick of all time Mets. If we're talking about like I'm gonna just pick my favorite all time Mets. Let's put it that way, versus say the best, because I prefer to do that. Conforto has to be there because Conforto is really the first New York Met that I really like got attached to. Honestly, because I've only been following baseball intensely the past 6 years. And him showing out in the World Series, he's stuck with me ever since then. Pretty swing of baseball right there, baby. It'd be Conforto for me. It's DeGrom, and then you're looking at, you know, Seaver, and then that 4th spot. You know, I'll take Conforto off. I can't have him there yet. Even as much as I love him, I can't. You'd have DeGrom there. You have Seaver. You would have Piazza. And then, in my mind, you'd probably go Gooden. But there's a lot of good arguments to, if you don't want Gooden there, you could have many other guys. If you want Carter there, put Carter there. If you want, you know, if you want Strawberry, or if you want Keith, you know, if you want Ron, you want, like, that's all, you know, just personal preference. But yeah, my 4 would definitely probably be probably Seaver, Piazza, DeGrom, and Gooden. And David Wright, obviously, is another amazing pick as well. I would be happy with either of them. AB, it's okay. AB, no one's causing a problem. It's okay. Extend Lindor and then build a package around Mauricio and Davis to send to A's for Chapman. I would be all for it, but it's all the matter of, will the A's even really consider it? Will they accept it? Rory, can I ask you something? Do you even have a farm to bet? No, not a good farm, at least. If you're talking about my backyard, I have that. Oh, don't say bad stuff. Look, if you have an opinion about Gooden, you have an opinion on Gooden. But, you know, people are always going to have an opinion in regard to the 86 team as it is. You know, everyone was doing stuff around that time. It is what it is. Hey, man, I'm an aspiring content creator. What is the best advice to put me on the path to do full-time content, make it my full-time job? Your Mets content is A1. Well, thank you so much, Greg. I appreciate that. Easiest advice I can give you is 1, be consistent. Be consistent. Make sure your audience knows what they're getting, or at least has a strong idea for the most part of your target audience. 2, make sure that you have good quality with what you're doing, regardless if you're showing your face or if you're just doing stuff without you actually being involved, and it's a voiceover or whatever, make sure it's good quality. You need to make sure you have good quality. That will get you so far. Regardless of the content, the topic, if you have good quality, that is definitely going to drag people in quicker and the longer term than you having bad quality camera, bad quality audio, bad quality visuals, whatever it may be, graphics. Those two are definitely important. Also, be yourself. Make sure that whatever you're doing, you are passionate about it. The last thing that you want to do is do something that you aren't passionate about. It's not going to get you anywhere. You need to make sure that you have fun doing it, that you're committed to it, and something that you don't have problems really committing to it long term as well if you're trying to go full time, because those things are easier said than done. Take it from me. I'm just starting to get in the rhythm of making this my full-time thing, and it's definitely a commitment that you need to make sure that you're ready for, and that you're ready for whatever curveball comes your way, no pun intended. So those would be my best advice. Just be yourself, try to be happy, be positive doing it, know that you enjoy doing it, make sure that you don't want to cover stuff that you really don't have much interest in, Again, I know that it can be viewed as a job to an extent, but the whole point of content creating is that you hopefully put yourself in a position where it isn't a job, but you're getting paid like it's your job, and that's a great thing to have. So that'd be my advice to you, buddy, and thank you so much for the kind words. If you get a new Mets jersey, who should you get? A new Mets jersey. I mean, if you don't have DeGrom, obviously get DeGrom. I would go like DeGrom. I mean, I'm thinking about myself in that situation. Like my next Mets jersey, I really want it to be McCann. So. Heard a rumor Mets asked about Ohtani a while back. Thoughts? I have never heard anything regarding that rumor. Baseball talk. That is as rumor of a rumor. Like I don't know what else to say. Yeah, I don't see Ohtani going anywhere. Is it a good or a bad thing where the Mets hype builds up for third base, then goes quiet? You'd hope it's a good thing, Matt. Right? You'd hope it's a good thing. I'm really hoping it's a good thing. You have a signed Doc Gunn authentic jersey. Oh, that's amazing. No, Reyes was a stud in his prime. There's no doubt. He was literally, he was a high flying machine. He was phenomenal. Oh, and thank you all so much for forgiveness or love. I appreciate you both tremendously. Thank you, guy. Not both of you. You're together. Whenever I read your name because it's forgiveness or love, it makes me think of two different things. I apologize, but seriously, thank you so much, buddy, for the kind words. I always appreciate you. And AB, no, I'm very much awake. I'm actually comfortable. Normally in previous streams, I'm pretty tired. I'm actually very comfortable right now. Not gonna lie. Maybe that's why I look a little sleepy, because I don't feel on edge or anything. It's nice. Because you guys have seen me at my highest and at my lowest here in streams by now, right? Between either the players and Mets have either gone or not gotten. I wouldn't get a jersey until Lindor gets extended. Nah, that's how confident I am in this team. They'll extend him. That's why I got the one behind me. No going back now. Thanks, dude. Here's to maybe one day collaborating on some Mets content one day. For sure, Greg. For sure. Yeah, no, wishing you the best, my friend. I heard a rumor that the Mets may want to extend DeGrom once his contract is on the final. Well, that would make perfect sense, yeah. Why wouldn't you want to extend him? Doc came to my high school to talk to us about not doing drugs on my senior year. That sounds about right, Diego. Honestly. You have a DeGrom and a Conforto jersey. Beautiful picks. Absolutely beautiful. Your next one then, I would say I would do one of McNeil or Alonso. Just guys that I feel comfortable are going to be with the Mets long term. Which New York Mets starting pitcher will have the best season besides DeGrom? I'm thinking Carrasco might, honestly. John, thank you so much for the donation, my man. I appreciate you guys. Hype in the chat for John as always. Thank you so much, buddy. That really means a lot. hype in the chat, guys. Get some dono hype in there, especially if you're a member here on the channel. You guys know what to do in regards to dono hype. So seriously, thank you so much, buddy. I appreciate you. And make sure to smash that like and subscribe button, guys. Help us get to 200 likes. We're so close. So make sure to hit those buttons, guys. Thank you so, so much. Let's get some dono hype emojis in here. I have a Keith Alonso jersey. Who's next? Oh, definitely get DeGrom. If you don't have DeGrom yet, I don't know what you're doing. Gotta get DeGrom. My favorite moment of you is the day the Bauer sign. Everyone was going crazy. All socials were down, and then his channel got deleted, and you were going crazy. I know. That day was insane. Regardless of the results, it was still an insane day, and it really helped the channel grow, really gain a chance to interact with more Mets fans. So I'm grateful for that, even with things not going in the Mets' favor. Let's put it that way. An insane day for sure. The only reason I would trade Nimmo is unless they get a steady center fielder. Regular outfielder are just corner fielders. You need a good center fielder to back up Smith. I agree, Larry. I think that's a very fair point to an extent. Not a popular opinion, but my favorite Met to watch of all time, Turk Wendell. Ooh, good pick. Good pick. That's a good one. More of a surprise, Mets almost winning the World Series in 15 or the Mets not winning in 06? I would say the Mets almost winning it in 15 because the Mets had no business being there. But Murphy said, hold my beer. Luke, what's up, buddy? Happy to have you here. Would I get a strawberry jersey? Absolutely. Let's see. Philly scored. Philly scored. You mean Flyers? My favorite stream was the Lindor one. Me too. Amazing. I still can't get over it. Doesn't even feel real still, I have to be honest. How do I feel about Tebow retiring? I wish him all the best. It is what it is. He was never going to play a game for the Mets. I really enjoy Tebow as a human being, so I wish him all the best with whatever he does next in his life. Maybe he'll go back and, like live in the Philippines full time again. I don't know. Oscar, what's up, buddy? Happy to have you here. Paulo Duca was cool. Yeah, no, he used to on my old Twitter before I became a YouTuber. Laduca followed me on it because I like for just my Mets reactions back to the Mets in the playoffs in like 15 and 16. Same thing with Tyler Clippard. He followed me on Twitter too, which was actually pretty dope. Mets legend right there. Ellis, it's okay. It's okay. I can't even watch the game where I am. It's blacked out, so it was more reason to do this live stream. Who are we truly getting at third base? If the Mets do in fact acquire third baseman, I still feel that Suarez is the most realistic currently. Have you seen the Walker and Lucchesi numbers? Lucchesi is barely worse, so I don't see the point of giving Walker the extra money. Depth, Jack. Depth. If you can have that issue where you can put Lucchesi basically in the bullpen, you do it. And remember, Walker, yes, I know Walker has a lot more innings, though. Walker has had a lot more experience than Lucchesi has. Lucchesi's only been in the league for like a little bit here. I know that Walker has dealt with his injuries, but at this juncture, I would still take Walker as a starter over Lucchesi. Walker's in the prime of his career. There isn't nearly as many question marks as there is with Lucchesi still. For Lucchesi was a guy who was barely even cracking the line for the Padres last year. And with saying that, guys, we are going to get on to our next, our only guest here tonight, that being Jim for Ballcap Sports, guys. Everyone give a round of applause for Jim. I want to see get some hype in the chat for Jim, guys, as I bring him in the chat. Things are going to be slow for the beginning, but then we're going to bring in Jim. So I hope you guys enjoy. We're getting Jim in here, guys. All right, Jim, I don't hear you yet.
Can you hear me now?
I hear you now. What's up, buddy?
Oh, just hanging out on was it Thursday? Thursday evening, I think.
Yes.
Waiting for Taiwan Walker to sign is what I'm waiting for.
Yes, you and I both. First of all, do me a favor, turn your camera off and back on for me because it'll help your quality, believe it or not. And then we'll get rolling. Again, everyone's very happy to have you in here. I can already tell. Hype in the chat for Jim, guys. How's it going? So what were you doing? What were you doing earlier today from what you told me?
So I actually joined on, I don't know if anybody's heard of, it's called the Locker Room app. Have you heard of it?
The Locker Room app?
Yeah.
It sounds familiar.
It's actually, I never heard of it, but it is a place where you can go and basically host chats. And I was invited in there from a guy, Keegan. I'm gonna butcher his last name. I think it's Galili. I might have that wrong. Keaton Gilligy. I think that's how you pronounce it. But he invited me, and he has this. It's like a podcast / chat room kind of thing, and we talked Blue Jays, we talked baseball, and what's neat about it is anybody that joins in the room can chat. So it's kind of like, it's kind of a neat opportunity. I think I might do some more myself with some of my, anybody that wants to come and talk with me. I might do some of that off nights when I'm not doing YouTube stuff. It was fun. Is it like a
FaceTime, or is it more of like a Discord?
It's like a Discord.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. That's cool.
Yeah. Now, but the thing is, you got to sign up. You got to have an account. You got to have all of that. And so it's, there's a couple of steps to get to it. It's not like you can just turn it on and go. There are some steps to it. You got to create an account, a profile, all that stuff. I mean, I guess you could breeze through the profile and just leave it blank. But no, it was fun. We talked about. I think I spent about a half hour on there. We talked Tatis. We talked the American League East. We talked a bunch of stuff. It was a good time.
All right, good. I hope you're going to enjoy this because we're going to do the exact same thing.
I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
Yeah, no, I talked about Tatis earlier in a video today in regards to how it could possibly affect Lindor. Again, it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But just give me your initial stance on that contract. And again, say hello to everyone because everyone is hyping you up in the chat as always. So, Jim,
what's up, everybody?
Introduce yourself for people that don't know who you are exactly.
Well, if you don't know who I am yet, it's Ball Cap Sports on YouTube and Jim Riley Live on Twitter. I'm a baseball fan, a Blue Jays fan. I like to think that baseball is life, and so I try to put that into my channel. So I hope that anybody that feels the same way likes what I'm doing. I know Tyler, you and I kind of connect because I think we both, while we have different teams that we root for, we both share that same passion for baseball. So that's where I think you and I probably connect, is that we both really enjoy the game of baseball. So that's me. That's what I do. Jays and baseball over on Ball Cap Sports. So when you're not watching Tyler, you can check me out. Once you've watched all of his videos, you can come maybe watch a few of mine.
Yes, definitely. If you like things that are beyond Mets content, Jim's the place to be. Yeah. So initially, what were your thoughts last night? Because I was live streaming here as well when we found out about Tatis, and bam, my first initial thought was that is such a smart contract for the Padres. What was your thoughts?
The same. Yeah. I thought that in 5 years, we're going to think he's underpaid. I think that it's a great deal for the Padres because it gets them out of a position where, and he's coming out of arbitration and he has a 40 homer season and an MVP. And he's like, you're giving me, I'm taking 45 mil a year. Like, I want $500 million. I want a Patrick Mahomes type deal. They don't have to worry about that. I mean, now the caveat is, what if he gets hurt, right? 14 years is a long time. There's probably going to be some DL stints in there, but ultimately it's the best decision because he was becoming the face of the franchise if he wasn't already. And now you lock him in. And if you're a fan of the Padres, you don't have to worry about getting a jersey and then he's gone. Like, I love it. I love the whole thing about it. I wish more teams would do it. I hope it creates a tidal wave of these types of deals, right? Acuna got his. long-term deal, not for as many years and not for as much money from Atlanta. But I hope that, the Blue Jays do it with Bo Bichette and Vladdy Guerrero. I hope that the Mets do it with Lindor. I hope that Seager gets it with the Dodgers. I hope it creates more of this because, when a guy comes up with your team or is there, I know Tatis came from the White Sox, right? So, but still, he makes his debut, makes an impression. Love to see him staying for a long time. Love that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I don't love it just in the sense of knowing that it's going to hurt the Mets more just because it's more NL competition. But at least the Padres do have the Dodgers that they constantly have to worry about. So that's something that's going to be, always the biggest uphill battle for them. The Padres remind me in a lot of ways of, to an extent, any team that tries to match up with the Patriots the past 2 decades. It's so difficult. It really is. Oh, and we have spammers in the chat. Oh, how fitting. Oh, Jim, this has been happening the past couple days with the same exact people. So just bear with me as we get them out of here. Oh, literally the same people.
It's all
the
good.
Same, like numerous account. Like they're, it's literally a bunch of 10-year-olds that they're like ready, set, go. Like it's honestly funny at this point. I agree.
You know what? You're getting too big. When you get to that point, you're just getting too big. Robbie Hyde is a sucker. Come on now.
I know. They've been far worse. Again, it doesn't matter at this point. It really doesn't. But the Tatis deal was great. I think that this is something that long term, he might not necessarily love. But if this isn't a guarantee that the Padres need to make sure that they win, really while they have their core group in their prime, not so much Tatis, because Tatis is going to be 35, 36 when that deal is done, versus Machado right in the heart of the prime of his career, Eric Hosmer, all these guys. The next real 4 or 5 years are what going to dictate what's going to happen with that Tatis contract in my mind.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those things where we'll know, right? If he continues on this trajectory or if he kind of tails off. I think he's going to be a future star. I think it's a smart move, and you build around him now, right? I mean, ultimately, he's got the no trade clause. Does he play all 14 years in San Diego? Does he get traded? That's always an option if things go sour. Looked like Arenado was going to be in Colorado for a long time. Things went sour quickly. So it is what it is. But I like the deal for the Padres. I like the deal for Tatis. But again, I still think in 5 years we could be looking at it like he's underpaid. I could see it. I can see that conversation formulate out. It sounds crazy now because I think the conversation is more about how maybe crazy the deal is. But I think that ultimately down the road, in a handful of years, it'll look like a bargain for the Padres.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. But in essence, it was still a strong deal. So going outside of that, I want to ask your opinion because I had someone ask in the chat if you have any stance that you could share in regards to 2 prospects that went the Mets' way in regards to the Steven Matz deal, if you wouldn't mind, if you have any familiarity on them. That being in Sean Reed-Foley and Yennsy Diaz. What are your thoughts on them?
So Diaz was ready to start playing in the major leagues. He was now how good he's going to be, we'll see. There's definitely, some there's a major league arm there. We hadn't seen him a whole lot. He had just sort of cracked into that top 25. So there's not not as much familiarity with him as there was with Sean Reed-Foley. But you got a guy who's ready to pitch in the major leagues, and the Blue Jays don't have room for him in their bullpen. So they send him to the Mets. But Sean Reed-Foley, he came up with some hype as a top pitching prospect in the system. He had done well in the lower levels. If memory serves me correct, he struggled at AAA, got the promotion to the big league club. In some cases, those moves are, the intent is to motivate the player and see if it works better when you get him around, the big league coaching staff, that pitching coach, and get him out of the AAA situation. And that it didn't materialize, but he had all of the hype coming up. And I think that if you put him with the Mets, their pitching coach maybe works with him in a different way, and they get he gets a better feel and maybe changes up his arsenal. Look with Dylan Bundy, went from the Orioles to the Angels, and he looks like he's a different pitcher now. So maybe Sean Reed-Foley goes to the Mets and they can turn him into something. Most likely he'll be coming out of your bullpen. But, I think that in maybe short bursts like that coming out of the bullpen, he could be a good worthy arm. Diaz, I wouldn't be surprised if Diaz starts the year with your AAA club and Reed-Foley starts with the Major League club. Just a projection on where they may land when the season starts.
So you think Foley has a better chance of cracking the lineup earlier?
I do. I think he's a guy who could be in the bullpen at the beginning, just because he's got more experience. He's a little bit older, so the Mets are going to want to. They're going to, with Reed-Foley, really get a feel on what do we have here, and they're going to need to figure that out quick. Whereas Diaz, they may have another year or two to. There's not as much of a sense of urgency with him.
Okay. Great insight, though. I appreciate that because, again, I didn't have as much familiarity on him either. So that's always good to know. And in regards to now Taiwan Walker, Walker Watch, I still can't get over the little Chuck Norris skit you did. I thought that was perfect. What are your thoughts initially on him? What do you think that he is more likely to land? Do you think it's strictly between the Jays and the Mets right now? Do you think that one team has more favoritism over the other? And what is your estimated time as you think maybe we could find something out? I just want to know your initial thoughts because I know that we really haven't talked too much about him, at least over this past week together.
The fact he's still a free agent, and from some of what we're hearing he wants, I think he's just asking for too much money. I think the Blue Jays or the Mets would both love to have him, but I think he's making too much money. And, right out of the gate, it actually seemed like when free agency started that Robbie Ray and Taiwan Walker were going to come back, boom, boom, right? Back to back. They got the Robbie Ray deal done quick, and it felt like the Walker deal was going to happen quick too. And then nothing. Now there's just been this sort of back and forth. He's testing the waters and everything, but I think he's just asking for too much money. And I don't know if the money's there on either side. I don't know it sounds like he wants a multi-year deal at $10 million per, which seems a little high for me. Yeah. That's the stuff I've seen from other people who are more connected, obviously, than I am. But I don't know. With Toronto's got an interesting situation because they have 3 lefty starters. So they may try to put the rotation together so that they mix it up, so that you see lefty, righty, right? They might try to stagger it, or they don't care. But I think Walker could fit higher in that rotation. I think he would be the number 3 with the Blue Jays. With the Mets, he's the 5, right? He's probably sitting there looking like he might be the 5. And when Syndergaard comes back, if Walker's struggling, he's going to the bullpen. Right?
Yeah,
you got too many arms.
It'll be him or Peterson. Something tells me that Walker may very well, because Walker's a 2 or a 3 on a lot of clubs in the MLB right now. But for the Mets, he would be a 4 or 5. The only way that I think would really justify him being a 5 should he land with the Mets is because they want that lefty before the 5th spot. Right.
I feel you're right. It just makes, and I had this conversation about Trevor Rosenthal a couple of days ago. It just makes sense for him to go to Toronto because both situations are going to be winning situations. Both teams are going to be trying to win their Eastern divisions. With Taiwan Walker, he will pretty much be guaranteed, even if he goes through some rough patches, he's going to be in that rotation. He's going to be higher up on that rotation than he would be with the Mets. Now, I think he'll probably get about the same amount of money from either team. Maybe the Blue Jays try to come a little bit underneath what the Mets are at because indications are that the Blue Jays are at their spending limit. But he pitched so well. The best 6-game stretch of his career came with the Blue Jays. So the best stretch he had was with the Blue Jays. He's guaranteed to have a longer leash with that rotation, in my opinion, than he would be with the Mets because the Mets have – you guys got like 6 or 7 starters right now. So there's I think
that's stretching a little bit.
Well, let's go through. You've got I don't have it in front of me, but you've got DeGrom, Carrasco. I'm going to count Thor because Thor will be back. Walker will have to deal with Thor at some point.
Okay, yes. Yeah, you can say that inevitably that Thor will be there.
Right. He will be pitching. So there's Thor, and then you got Stroman. So there's 4. And then you got Peterson, and you got Yamamoto, and you got Lucchesi, and you got Taiwan Walker in the mix. Like, I know some of those guys are going to the bullpen, right? Lucchesi's probably going to the bullpen.
I think Lucchesi would be perfect in the bullpen. That's why I think they want another rotation. Because if you bring Lucchesi in this Churv in the bull, I think that has the potential to really be an X factor for the Mets that some people aren't really looking. I think Yamamoto actually might have a solid chance of starting out the season in AAA, just because how deep the Mets will be with the rotation.
Sure, right. But if you're Walker and you're competing with that, the Blue Jays are in. What the Blue Jays are in, the Blue Jays, you could also say have a lot of starters because they moved a lot of starters to the bullpen. But, Kay and Barucki, those are the 2 lefties. Those were starters. They're not going to start this year in the rotation. They've already got 3. We talked about it. That's why they were out on Paxton. So they're going to have to, those 2 are going to be the lefties out of the bullpen. And then you got guys like Merriweather, and I know I'm forgetting somebody, Thornton. Those guys are also going to be in the mix, but I just like Walker more. I think if you have a chance, if you have Walker on your team, you give him a longer leash before you go to Thornton. If he's with the Mets, I don't know if that leash is as long. If Walker has a couple of bad starts, how quick they go to Yamamoto. So I think that it just makes, from a standpoint, if I'm Taiwan Walker weighing my options out, both teams are going to win. Both teams are probably going to be in a similar ballpark for money. I think I'm going to be higher in that rotation, and I'm going to have a longer leash with the Jays rotation than I would be with the Mets rotation. But, he may look at himself as the missing piece. If he goes to the Mets, then the Mets, he might view himself as we're going to win that East with me. He might look at Toronto and say, the Yankees, it's just not as good of a situation. It's not as clear cut with these two because I feel like they're both pretty close. But if I was him, I would be weighing Toronto over New York. It just depends on what the money is. Maybe Toronto's only coming with a 1-year deal. Maybe the Mets have a 2-year deal, but it's not as high.
Yeah,
that's the stuff we don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. Do you think that we will find out an answer by him by Monday?
Man, I mean, he was teasing everybody the other night, right?
Yeah,
with his report day tomorrow, and then he sent the picture. He's playing golf.
Arizona,
it looked like,
which is where he resides during the off season.
Right. So he's playing golf in Arizona with the mountains. It's like, okay, wait a minute. Are the Angels sneaking in here? Is there going to be a mystery team? He has to want to get in there, right?
Yeah.
The pitchers and catchers are reporting. You missed the first couple days, whatever, but eventually you're going to fall behind and not have a shot at making the rotation. He's got to sign within a week. Otherwise, he won't be on track to start for either of these teams. It's got to be within the next couple of days, or he's going to fall behind and he's not going to have a chance anyway.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I really hope that maybe we find out tomorrow night or before the weekend, because weekends are normally hectic for me as it is. I would be happy if we find out sometime.
Right,
tomorrow.
Me too.
Yeah.
I would love to do it. Him and Odorizzi, both of them need to get their rears in gear because they're going to be behind. They're going to be behind if they wait too much longer, and it's going to cost them. It's going to cost them. So they got to get moving.
Well, yeah, you know what I've been telling you for a bit now, how I think Odorizzi, if he doesn't go back to the Twins, he's going to go in the AL East, regardless if it's the Jays or not. I think there's 3 teams right there that have an opportunity outside of the Yankees.
And I don't think the Jays are going to spend that money.
Yeah, I don't think so either. That would make me think that it's either the rate. I don't know. It almost feels like, I don't know. Maybe Rich Hill might do some sweet talking to Odorizzi should the Rays show interest. Like, they were just together. I know that it would be a silly thing, but they were just together with the Twins, another strong analytically backed team. Now you bring them the Rays. I could see him really doing well and kind of being that filler for Snell.
Tricky spot there is, I don't know if the Rays are going to want to do a 3-year deal at $50 million or $45 million, whatever he's asking for.
I know.
Odorizzi has really put himself in a bad spot. Odorizzi, Taiwan Walker have kind of, to not be with teams at this point is tough. That's just a tough spot to be in because they're getting started without you. If you wait too much longer, the teams just get more negotiating power the longer this goes on. I mean, what do I know though? They may get their money. They may have a plan. They may get it done, and it could be all of this could be for naught. He could get his 2-year. Walker could get his 2-year deal for $10 million. I mean, look what just happened with the Phillies and JT Realmuto. What if Walker's hanging out there and the Blue Jays Hyunjin Ryu throws out his his groin or something here in the next couple of days, and then the Blue Jays are all of a sudden in the market. They'll spend that money. Maybe the gamble pays off.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. I hope that's the last scene that you would want to see as a Jays fan.
Of course, I don't want that at all. They put up that video earlier today of them with the pitchers and catchers, and they're having the bullpen session, and I replied to it. I was like, take care of the thumbs. Don't want anybody getting hurt this early in spring training. Don't want to see that at all. For Realmuto's case, it looks like he'll be back for the start of the season, but that throws everything off. Yeah, definitely does. His timing could be slowed getting back in there.
It hurts the pitchers.
They can't work with him as much. The whole thing is I mean, you don't want injuries this early in the offseason. That's brutal.
Quick question for you regarding the Jays before I segue on to a different player. What are your thoughts and expectations for Anthony Kay? Because he's a guy that I really I didn't want to see him get part ways, but I understand at the time I thought that the Mets, they gave up some crucial prospects for Stroman, especially at the time when I think Stroman was either a rental or he was going into his walk year. I think he was going into his walk year. And, between, I believe, what's his name? Woods and Anthony Kay. I've always been a fan of Anthony Kay, especially being a Long Island native. So what are your expectations for him for the Jays season, if you had a guess? And what do you think his realistic, what role he will actually have with the team?
Well, this year it's going to be out of the bullpen. Unless they need to replace somebody. I think that they're going to start it out. I think they've already said that he and Baraki are going to start in the bullpen. Now, how old is he? He's 26, I think it is. He's still got some time. His velocity isn't that overwhelming. He gives up a little bit more in the fly ball department than I might like. I think that in the short term, he is coming out of the bullpen, but Robbie Ray's only on a 1-year deal, and Steven Matz. Do you remember what Steven Matz's contract was?
Yeah, 1-year deal, $5 million.
So right, that's right. So those two could be gone in 2022, and Anthony Kay could be right there if he pitches well this year, going for one of those open rotation spots. That he's one of those guys that this year he'll be trying to prove himself as, you guys don't need to worry about bringing Robbie Ray back or Steven Matz back because I got this. That's my feeling. I mean, so far he's been kind of just trying to figure it out. He's still young, right? Entering the age 26 season, but bullpen this year, and then he'll be trying to get
already.
Right, he's gonna be 26 this year.
I didn't realize he was already like mid-20s. I thought he was a couple years younger than that. Yeah,
he's getting up there. Just looking at the Baseball HQ, the scouting that they gave. Let's see. Didn't show great control or the ground ball tilt that he had in the minors. Still could be a valuable rotation piece down the road. He's got work to do. That's from, and I trust the Baseball HQ scouting department there. So that's, the velo's sitting around 93.5. That's his average velo. So, I want the best for him. I want him to elevate and sort of show what he's got this year and possibly be a rotation piece next year. I've got his autograph on a baseball card, so I want him to be incredible because that goes up in value. Just being selfish there for a minute.
No, I love that. I wish nothing but the best for him too. He's a good story. But yeah, no, I will agree that is interesting that he's 26 array. Yeah. So as we saw that you predicted, and I rue you for predicting this as we know in regards to Rosenthal going to the A's. Were you all that surprised when that transpired earlier today? Or were you kind of like, no, it makes sense, especially with Hendricks gone, going to Southside.
Yeah.
Seems like a good fit there. Are you a little surprised on the money that the A's were willing to cough up? And what do you think is maybe on the next route for? I know that I'd like to say I have maybe a little bit more of a Mets perspective than you, but from an outsider's perspective, what do you think the Mets would do in regards to the bullpen, if anything? I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
So the Rosenthal piece, I had mentioned it on Tuesday. It just made too much sense. I was out here, popping off at the mouth, telling him to just go sign with Oakland, because Oakland's going to be trying to compete, and they didn't have a closer. I mean, it's a 1-year deal, $11 million, right? That's if they want to compete and try to win the West, which the West is open. They needed to do that. They needed to shore up the back end of that bullpen, and he's going to be great. He is back. Anybody concerned about what he had been the last few years? He got his control back. He got his velo back. Everything was back last year. And that's what made him effective the years with St. Louis. So he's back. It was definitely the right move. There were, when you were looking at contending teams that still needed a closer, they had a clear, gap in that position. There weren't that many teams. So Oakland made sense. And I think the money is why maybe he didn't sign sooner with some other teams, because $11 million is a lot. But he gets $11 million for 1 year. I think it was the right move. And, as far as what the Mets could do, it's got to be just at this point. I think everything is just depth for you guys. I think it's all these out moves are depth moves. Any pitching move is going to be a depth move, because what it does is it sets you up to get through the long grind of the regular season, right? If you'll be able to absorb injuries, and it sets you up to be able to make a trade. So if they do find that they can deal Brandon Nimmo, if they do see that, Jordan Yamamoto is throwing lights out down in AAA, we don't have room for him though, or Stroman, right? Maybe they decide to deal Stroman. You have the ability because you have all that depth. So whatever the Mets do next, I think is going to be a depth move, probably all set on offense and with the bats and in the field. But I could see them making a move to just add some depth either to the bullpen or the rotation. So again, they can get through that season. There's talk of a lot of pitchers being on pitch counts this year. So, help get through the season and give them the ability to, make a trade. And that could be, at this point, I feel like trades are going to happen during the season, but, I could be wrong. I could be wrong on that, but probably in the immediate for the Mets, I would think it's going to be some moves just to add to the depth.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I don't think that at this juncture, I don't think that we're going to see a quote unquote blockbuster until they prove me wrong. It seems like that with how this offseason has transpired between all the highs and lows, and there are a lot of people that are like, okay, would things have been different and maybe the Mets weren't in all of this bad PR between Porter and then these other scandals. And I think, maybe to an extent, they're definitely, I think, put some type of stink on things when things looked a little rolling hot. But I also feel like the Mets, and I said this earlier in tonight's stream for everyone watching, and thank you all so much again for being here, guys. I appreciate you, that if the Mets landed Bauer, things would be different right now. They went all in on Bauer. He was the only free agent that it really came off that they were like devoted on. Like they were like, all right, we're going to go all in because we know we can here. And he would make sense for us. And they still weren't able to get him when they did everything possible. They gave the better offer long-term and everything. So I think because of them not landing Bauer, it really kind of put a damper on what their outlook was next to an extent. So that's why you're seeing a lot more of these depth moves for them. And when you look at what's next for them, yes, I think that is starting. If they don't get one of Odorizzi or Walker and they don't do anything trade-wise going into the season, that in my mind is a red flag. I think that is where you're banking a little too much. Even while that might be a short-term thing, then maybe a Lucchesi or Yamamoto really does blossom in that fifth spot. Or maybe you have a starter, because I know Aaron Loop, who was a newly acquired lefty in the pen, was said how he may very well be toyed with as a starter for the season and in certain games for like an inning or two, and then you put in like a Lucchesi, whoever it's going to be. But again, I think that you're putting a little bit too much risk there. So I hope for the Mets case that they land another guy. I think the biggest move will be a starting pitcher, and then outside of that, it's going to be depth. I agree. I think bullpen depth is key for them. But third base is definitely a wait-and-see situation, it looks like.
I could see them, and I have no idea if they've been linked to it, but I could see them getting in on like a Julio Teheran.
They have been linked to Julio.
Has there been some links there?
Yeah,
I could see.
Unfortunately,
I mean, as just take a shot kind of thing, right? Yeah. A minor league deal or an invite to camp or a 1-year deal or something like that. I could see Teheran. I could see Mike Leake maybe being in that position. But you got to exhaust the Walker and the Odorizzi before you get to that point.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Again, I think that is in fact their priority right now, and things are just quiet right now. For both the Jays and the Mets respectively, things were rolling hot all off season. Now really spring training's come along. They both still have moves that they should make. I think we can both agree. So things have just kind of hit the the real quiet point of the off season, if you will. And now that's officially over, but I'm excited no less. I really am. JBJ is a guy that I'm really interested to see what's going to happen with him. I think the DH uncertainty has really hit him hard between his contract demands, at least what reports are indicating. We don't know exactly how telling that is, but I think that outside of his contractual demands, the DH is really hurting guys like JBJ, where he would make so much sense for the Mets if there's a DH in place, but if there's not, then there really is no shot.
Yeah, he's impacted by that, and then just straight up like Encarnacion is impacted by that. How much
is he like 37 now?
Yeah, how much does he have left in the tank is a question. Unfortunately, the 60-game season, he didn't show a whole lot with the White Sox. I'm sure he would have liked to have put up better numbers, and I think if you give him a full season, I think he probably does put up some numbers. But these teams are basing a lot of these decisions off of what happened last year. I mean, the Dodgers gave Bauer all that money based on what he did last year. Now, so Edwin Encarnacion is being negatively affected by that. There's guys that certainly, I think Puig, if there was a DH, he probably would be somewhere right now. Josh Reddick would probably be somewhere right now. Yeah, that uncertainty it really kind of hurt some guys and hurt some teams in terms of putting their rosters together. Because there are a lot of guys out there. And, it's easier for a batter. It's easier for a hitter to sign a week or two into spring training than it is for a pitcher. So these pitchers got to sign. If they want to pitch, I just feel like they have to sign. Odorizzi's got to sign. Porcello's got to sign. If Hamels wants to pitch, he's got to sign.
Yeah, how old is Hamels now? Is he just under 40?
37. He didn't. I mean, he tried to make it back last year. I think he pitched a couple of innings for the Braves, but that was it.
Yeah.
And then he shut it back down. There's a lot. Gio Gonzalez is still out there. Gio could eat some innings. I was just surprised that there are a lot of teams that are going to just need innings to be eaten this year. And there's guys out there that could do that for them. Maybe they're just asking for too much money.
Yeah, I mean that exactly could be the case, and it's just it's an interesting factor when you look at this type of free agency in particular. It's not necessarily the time to be talking, looking for all the big bucks in a type of pandemic free agency when there's only a select few teams that actually have the money to toy with. When the MLB as it is struggles heavily when it comes to bigger and smaller markets and money that they're able to utilize.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to this thing start because I feel like we're in a lull right now. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is. I mean, the Rosenthal was big news today, but now I don't know. Maybe it's just because the focus is on games. I don't know about you, but I feel kind of like split and torn between which direction to go in. I'm going to start some spring training content, but spring training, there's nothing to really talk about for, another week because the rest of the guys don't get there for a few more days and the games don't start until, later this month. So, you can only go so far with the spring training content. And then with all the transactions and rumors, it's really down to just a couple of guys. It's, it's kind of as somebody who does this, I'm like, I don't even know which way to go right now. I need someone to point me in a direction. I need Taiwan Walker to sign so I have something to talk about.
I agree. Yeah, no, like I plan on doing a video on Jeremy Jeffress because the Mets have shown interest on him. So I'm like, all right, I'll finally start talking about him now that Rosenthal's out of the picture. But
right.
yeah, no, we're getting to that point. I have a lot of ideas as well. I'm sure we'll be doing more things together. But in regards to like spring training content as it is, yeah, like this is just this is really like the quiet time. So hopefully Walker, we get a decision on soon. Same thing with Odorizzi and others. And predictions is the biggest thing. I've been very hesitant with my predictions, not just with the Mets, but as a whole. I'm like, there's still guys and moves out there that are going to be made within the coming weeks. The last thing I want to do is make a prediction and then something fairly significant happens. And I'm like, all right, that actually has a say in stuff.
Yeah. I've been White Sox and Dodgers in the World Series for about a month and a half, and I still haven't moved off that.
Yeah, I mean, I would be all not so much in favor of the Dodgers, but I would be all in favor of the White Sox. They're my AL team. They're just so much fun.
Yeah, I think that's White Sox are going to be great to watch, and they're in generally a favorable division, right? If they had to get through that American League East. It would be a little bit tougher, but I like the White Sox. I like what they've done this year. And then the Dodgers, it'd be a Dodgers, Padres, NLDS, and then a Dodgers Mets NLCS would be fantastic.
Yeah. I have something tells me that the Mets and the Dodgers may very well match up in playoffs this year, which is like a good and a bad thing.
Oh, can you, how much would you love to see Bauer pitching in New York in the playoffs?
Oh, I would hope it'd be a full stadium. That's the thing.
Like, I know
that I would love that. I really would. As long as it goes a certain way,
Of
but
course.
I do think it would though. The Mets are no slouch offensively.
They're going to jump. Yeah, they're going to jump. They're going to hit. The Mets are going to hit. I mean, pretty much everyone's back plus Lindor. And you guys had the third highest OPS last year. I think if I have that right, if I'm remembering that right.
And like MLB history, even though it was a shortened season, yeah.
It was amazing. So you guys had a team that could hit as it was, and you add Lindor. The team's going to hit, and the pitching is going to be better. Pitching going to be better with Carrasco and some of those bullpen moves. Pitching is going to be better.
Yeah, no, I think McCann might be a huge X factor too. I have a feeling that McCann's loss with the White Sox is actually going to hurt them a lot more than they think. Because that was Giolito's guy. Like, Yasmani Grandal and Giolito did not click nearly as much, at least to date, as McCann did. It's like Thor for the Mets for the longest time normally has his personal catcher. It's been Nito the past couple of years versus, like Ramos was just horrendous to the point where they were gaining like bad PR and stuff. But, a lot of the guys normally like, for a good reason, a good, more defensively minded catcher, and McCann brings all that and the offense. Like, this guy doesn't even wear a card on his arm to give him, tips about the hitter that comes up. He's like, I don't wear a card because that means that I'm not studying enough about the player. I want to do enough research before each and every game and the week leading up to these players where I don't even need to do a cheat sheet, if you will. And I love that about him. I have a thing. I think that in my mind, I think he's going to be a huge expert. He's the reason why I follow the White Sox as it is. So.
He's a great piece to add. He is definitely a great piece to add, that defensive mindedness and his ability to hit. I do think he might struggle a little bit with getting used to seeing some new arms, some new delivery angles and everything. He had spent a lot of time in the Central, and I can remember last year I was doing some work for Fighting Chance Fantasy, and basically every day going and looking at the head-to-head matchups and putting together sort of a scouting report on who had the most favorable head-to-head matchups. And McCann just kept popping up against all of those Royals and Tigers and Indians pitchers. He just was there against, he hit all of them well. So now he's going to be going into a situation where it's not as familiar of a opponent. So there may be, the first month he's a little bit slow out of the gate with the bat, but he'll make up for that over the season, and his ability behind the plate will certainly make up for that as well.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. So what does the catching look like for the Jays right now? Because I don't have as much familiarity with, their backstops.
Well, it's Jansen's the guy who's been there for, the last handful of years. He was supposed to be the one that was going to come up, be a good defensive catcher, and be able to hit. The problem is the hitting hasn't come easy for Danny Jansen. And now they've got Alejandro Kirk, who was, a top highly regarded prospect in the system that could hit. And he's good behind the plate. So you've got Kirk and Jansen sort of seem to have the edge to be the two backstops to start with the club. But, I did a video yesterday, 2 days ago, that, Reese McGuire cannot be forgotten. He kind of is the forgotten man right now, but the Blue Jays need a lefty bat. He's left-handed. And, he could come out here and try to take some reps and show that, listen, I need to be your second catcher. I'm the lefty bat that you need. It's probably not going to happen. It's a long shot for that. If anything, Reese McGuire, if he can perform well, he might find himself being a trade piece. If he can increase his value. I mean, he's at the point in his career. I think he's going to be 26 or 27. He needs to be in the big leagues. And if he's not going to get an opportunity with the Jays, I think they should try to trade him. But, he's got to build up some value again. And if he performs nicely in spring training, he might just do that. But it's Jansen and Kirk, and, Jansen has, had his struggles with the bat. And I'm hoping that maybe some of this competition with Kirk can, push him maybe a little bit and he does better. A lot of people can thrive under, friendly competition like that. And maybe he can thrive and finally I'm sure he wants to do better than he's been with the bat. And maybe some competition from Kirk or McGuire could do that.
Yeah. Again, I appreciate the insight, because I have a feeling I'm going to be watching the Jays a lot more than I initially anticipated going into the season, for obvious reasons. They're going to be fun though. They really are. And it's actually funny too. I think I'm actually going to be doing content too with some fellow Jays YouTubers I know you did stuff with not all that long ago.
Oh yeah. There's a few that are doing a great job, that are doing Blue Jays content. I don't think it's as deep of a pool as the Mets content, guys. That is a big pool of content creators in the Mets realm. But it is, there's a couple of good guys out there. So definitely I'll look out for that. That'll be fun to watch. For sure. But before I let you out here, Jim, because I'm sure you're tired, another long day. I'm glad that you're feeling better though.
Yes. Let's hear your predictions basically as to what player do you think will be signed next in free agency, if you had to give a gut feeling, and what if you had to maybe think of a hypothetical trade for any team in the league next, maybe a guy that's been in the rumor mill as of late, that's been in the hot stove for a while. Who do you think it would be?
So next to sign, it's and we'll focus on the bigger names. We won't dive deep and try to predict like Mike Leake is going to sign or anything like that. I'm going to say that I'm going to say it's between Walker and Odorizzi. I'm going to say I'll go out and say Walker signs next. Again, whether it's Blue Jays or Mets, that's a coin flip. I encourage him to go to the Blue Jays just for everything that we talked about before. And as far as a trade that could go down, I think the Cubs are going to hold on to everybody. I don't think Oakland's going to trade, but I don't think Cincinnati's going to trade anybody. I think a trade could be if there is a need that arises during spring training that can't be solved with the free agent pool that is still there. Then you could see a trade making sense for some teams. I do think that the Mets, you've mentioned it before. I've heard you mention it before, and I've mentioned it too. The Mets, I think, wanted to make two big splashes this offseason, and they're going to be really interested in still making that splash, whether it comes during spring training or whether it happens in April or May. The depth that they have that I alluded to earlier is going to afford them that ability to maybe deal Brandon Nimmo. If Kevin Pillar comes in there and Kevin Pillar's hitting like I think Kevin Pillar can hit, then you can deal Nimmo and another piece, some of that pitching depth that you've acquired, and maybe make a run for, let's say, the Cubs. Let's say the Cubs are a month in and things are just not going well. That's what it's gonna take those teams, like the Reds. Everybody should be watching the Reds and the Cubs, the way they start their seasons, because if they're not playing well, the ability to get Hendricks or Bryant or Gray or Suarez away from those two teams, the likelihood goes up. So I think the Mets will be involved in whatever the next big trade is because of that depth that they've accumulated. It's just a matter of, will it be Cubs? Will it be Reds? Those two, I mean, you tell me, that doesn't seem like anybody else is out there willing to trade anybody away. Those two teams really just seem to be it. Even the Rockies, they don't want to trade Story. They want to try to sign him. And the Marquez thing hasn't really picked up any heat, or the John Gray thing. So it just feels like it's a Mets and Cubs or Mets and Reds, but it might have to wait until the season gets going. But that's, it's not a hot, sexy prediction because I don't think anything's coming quick or soon. But I do think something will happen. It just might take, some other things, some other pieces on the chessboard to move in favor of the team that's trying to get those guys.
How many games into the season do you think it'll take for either the Cubs and or the Reds to really be like, assuming that they didn't trade either of these guys prior, to be like, okay, now we're really going to start listening in?
I mean, it'll be early. I think I heard, I can't remember if it was Rosenthal or Morosi that was talking about teams being willing to start parting ways with guys by June, which is earlier than usual. So that we're talking April and May. April and May are done, 60 games in. You could start to see some moves. If the Cubs are 20-40, what's the point of holding on to Chris Bryant? Get whatever you can back. And same thing with Kyle Hendricks, because Kyle Hendricks, he's got a couple years left, but you've eaten into one of those years. So I could see that happening at that point. And listen, that should mean that the Mets wouldn't have to give up as much, right? All the word has been that they want Francisco Alvarez included in a trade, and the Mets don't want to do that. Well, if the Cubs are 20-40 and Chris Bryant now is only going to be there for 4 more months, then the Mets have a better negotiating table to work from, because why would we're only getting 4 months of Chris Bryant now. We're not getting a full season of Chris Bryant. That is so I could see being 60 games in and teams are willing to start making some moves.
Yeah, I agree. I'm excited no less. I hope something happens before the season, but if I have to wait till upwards of June, I think it'll be more exciting because you're already mid-season at that point. Both teams are going to be hot. I think the Jays are going to be fairly hot at the deadline as well. So
definitely,
regardless, I'm excited. And again, things are quiet right now, but they are going to pick up. We're still going to see some more moves happen before the season starts. So I'm sure we'll be talking again as it happens. Sure. So as always, thank you so much again, Jim, for chiming in. It does mean a lot. Let everyone know where they can find you again, and then you can get yourself out of here.
Again, Ball Cap Sports, the few channels down, few dial notches down. You can find me Ball Cap Sports, and then I'm trying to build that Twitter following just to be able to talk with people off this platform at Jim Riley Live. If you want to find me on Twitter as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jim. Have a great night. Bye.
Thanks, you too.
All right, guys, thank you so much for being a pain in my neck during that entire sequence with Jim through the chat. You guys are something else. Oh my Lord. Seriously, I felt like the entire time the chat was about something that wasn't related to the discussion. I'm not mad or anything. I'm just like, come on. Like, seriously, what the hell's going on? But again, I appreciate you all being here, no less, guys. If you are still here, if you are new, please make sure to smash that like and subscribe button. It always does mean a ton, guys. Thank you all so much who have been chiming in or just chiming in. Hit that subscribe button. Help us get a 6K subs and also help us get a 200 likes. It always means a lot, guys. But I really appreciate you all. Again, I see some arguments going on from earlier. It doesn't matter. Look, I agree to disagree. It's okay if you don't like people. It's okay if you do. Whatever it is, it's fine. Just be respectful. That's all I ask. No need to rag on anyone or anything like that. That's all, guys. That's all I ask from you, okay? Oh, Lord. Okay. But with saying that, guys, we're probably going to run for just another 5 minutes. We'll go to the 10:30 mark tonight. I don't think we're going to see any moves tonight. So, again, this was just another late night stream that I want to talk to you guys. Do another Q&A. I thought it was fun to have Jim in here as well. I hope you guys enjoyed Jim being in here. CAB, thank you so much for being here, my man. So, guys, please get your final thoughts in as we are going to be in the final 5 minutes here in the chat. And thank you all so much again for chiming in. It does mean a lot. Wardy, can we get Gary Keith or Ron on a stream once? Eli, that'd be tremendous, but I think I would really have to try to do a lot to get there. 6K subs, is that an Italian sub? Sounds like a really good one now that you think of it. Ball cap's a sweet guy. Those are just kids. The Moz got cut out. Look, again, I understand, okay? Let's just leave it at that. AB, yeah, I'm leaving in 5 minutes, AB. So get your final thoughts in, guys. Actual questions regarding the Mets and their offseason. And thank you so much, Nolan. I appreciate you, my friend. Who's better, Voit or Pete? Why? I mean, biasly saying I'm going to pick Pete. I think Pete's going to have a bigger year than Voit coming up. If you look at what Voit did, Voit had a better short season, but Pete had a better full, season in his rookie year. So there's fair arguments for both. But again, I do think Pete is the better player than Voit, but I do think that Voit is also a tremendous first baseman also. This season will be telling. As long as they can both stay healthy, we're going to find out who the better first baseman is between the two. And I'm excited to see that. I really am. And thank you so much, Kyle. I appreciate that. I figure that you enjoy that with Jim. He's the best. Am I worried about JD? I'm worried about his defense if he's starting at third. I respectfully can say I'm worried about that. Oh, and thank you so much, Mike. I appreciate you. Wardy, who do you like? What guy do I like in minor league? I like a good amount, Matthew. I do. It's going to be telling to see who actually cracks the minors and who doesn't going into this year. That could give you a more solidified answer as who my favorite one is. I really like K Wardy. He's good out of the pen, just needs more innings. Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing K get roughed up a little bit. But I like him too. I do. I will always be a K stan for obvious reasons. I wish him nothing but the best. Keith's cat, I always appreciate the kind words, buddy. Christian, you got the wrong sport. We don't need an enforcer role. My guy, you're thinking of hockey. Come on. Come on. Eli, other than don't know, how can I help out the channel? Buddy, you just being here and supporting, sharing with your friends, with fellow Mets fans, if you think that they will enjoy consistent Mets content, that would be all that I would ask of you, if anything. I'm normally not asking you stuff. You think the Mets get another quarterback in the minor leagues and continue the tradition? No, I don't. I don't think it's a tradition. Let's put it that way. It's a tradition if it's numerous guys in a row. It's only been Tebow. Mets should get Mike Piazza as a commentator. I would love that, but Piazza ain't doing it. He's chilling. He lives in Milan. My NBA fan, yes, I follow basketball. I don't follow it as often. I'm a Knicks fan, obviously, but I follow NBA, just not as much. I'm a Knicks fan. I kind of to an extent follow basketball, college basketball more than NBA, but that's died down a bit just because of how hectic college has been the past year with all the uncertainty and stuff. But yeah, no, I do follow the NBA. Do you expect similar stat from Peterson as last year? I hope so. I think if he can get a 4 ERA, a sub 4 ERA, that'd be tremendous. No, let's not make it a tradition bombastic. No. The only exception would be a guy like Kyler Murray, in my opinion. I'm Jeff Wilpon. I think you said it all with the LOL at the end, because that's something to laugh at. Oh, that's just because I started the hockey channel for the longest time as more than just Rangers content. It's something I might change down the line eventually, but as of right now, just for the NHL, because that's how people know me. But again, guys, thank you all so much for chiming in during this entire stream. Through the highs and the lows, this was really something else, I must say. But I appreciate you all no less, so please get in your final questions. We're just about here at the end of the stream, so I really appreciate you all. Thank you so much, guys. It does mean a lot. Now, get in your final questions, and then I'm going to get out of here with the Meet the Mets. Nothing new, and I wish you all a great night and expect more content as soon as tomorrow. And hopefully some damn answers about Walker. I'm getting fed up. I want to find out. Do you think Rojas is a good manager? I think Rojas is fine for now. Let me put it that way. I don't think Rojas has nearly much. I think Rojas, this is a do or die situation for him. He's going to have a great lineup around him. So if he doesn't thrive, then, you know, he's going to be kicked the can. I don't think they're going to have a long leash with him. How am I feeling about Cohen? I feel great about Cohen. Which current Mets hitter walk-off music do you like the most? Just thinking, because I haven't been at games in a while, so watching them on TV, I'm almost trying to think. Alonso's I like, but before that, my favorite Mets one was Asdrubal Cabrera. He was my favorite, not gonna lie. I loved his. I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean, but I, Jeff Wilpon, formally wish you a good rest of the night. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Wilpon. I appreciate that. I would try to wish you the same, but I can't give you that with the utmost certainty. I heard Joe DeMeo said that the Mets are having more of a priority of starting pitching in the bullpen. Oh, absolutely, James. Yeah, and shout out to my guy, Joe. Love Joe. Joe just followed me on Twitter yesterday. Actually called me out and said that he liked my YouTube content, so I really appreciate that. Yeah, no, Joe DeMeo's the guy. He's the man. Yeah, I agree with him, though. Yeah, it's obvious. It's obvious that they're prioritizing the rotation right now. Brian, what's up, buddy? Brian, we're literally about to end the stream. I apologize. And thank you so much, Brandon. You too, my friend. What do you do? Beatty Davis and Scott. I don't even know how to say his last name. Beatty Davis and that for Suarez. I think the Mets can do a deal without Beatty involved there. I think you're better off putting Mauricio than Beatty. Because especially if you don't commit long term with Suarez, you still have your third baseman in Beatty. Where Suarez, Mauricio, yes, you might move to third base because he's a bigger shortstop, but the Reds need shortstop depth more than anything, kind of. So Mauricio would make most sense to me if you're going to part ways with a top prospect. And yeah, thank you so much, AB. I appreciate you. And the hat I got as a gift, like literally 5 or 6 years ago. It's been a minute. So yeah, I have no clue where it actually came from. But again, thank you all so much, guys. It does mean a lot. Have a great night. AB, real one, appreciate you. Appreciate all you guys as always. We're going to end this with Meet the Mets the only way I know how. So have a great night, guys. And seriously, thank you so much. God bless.
Meet the Mets. Meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life because the Mets are really socking the ball, knocking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody butcher and the baker and the people on the streets. Where do they go? To meet the Mets! Oh, they're hollering and cheering and they're jumping in their seats. Where do they go? To meet the Mets! All the fans are true to the orange and blue, so hurry up and come on down, 'cause we got ourselves a ball club, the Mets of New York town. Give 'em a yell, give 'em a hand, and let 'em know you're rooting in the stand. Come on and meet the Mets, meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring